Hey guys, how's it going? My name's the Breph and welcome to another video. Today I am asking the question, can you beat Pokemon Emerald with only a Whismur? Whismur is a Pokemon I've always wanted to use but never quite gotten around to. I've always loved the idea of using this Pokemon, but even casually, I've never actually used one. It's got ridiculously poor stats, with a base total of 240, and the highlights of which being 64 HP and 51 in attack and special attack respectively. Otherwise, it's really slow and not particularly defensive. It does start off with some relatively powerful moves, all things considered, and actually one of them I can see having some longer term applications. But we'll have to see how long that lasts. This was recorded a little bit last minute, hence why no special ROM hacks, no real thought. We are playing base Pokemon Emerald, and that is entirely my fault, so I will apologise for that off the bat. However, I hope we can still have a bit of an entertaining challenge. Anywho, the game begins and we choose the male character, naming ourselves the inventive name of Breph. From there, we race through the beginning of the game, setting our clock, meeting our neighbour, and getting our hands on our Whismur. Back in the lab, I get the chance to bestow upon it a nickname, choosing Phoenix, after Discord user Exiled Phoenix from the Brephish Empire Discord server. Speaking of Discord, the link is in the description. Go and join the community. It is a fantastic place to be. We talk about Pokemon, we talk about real life, we talk about other stuff. It is a safe space on the internet for everyone. While you're down there, hit that like button, and if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel. It's an amazing way for me to gauge how much you like these videos and for me to know what to do more of. I'm going for monthly uploads, so please do hit that bell icon as well to get notified whenever I do those uploads and or even do a live stream. From there, we're progressing through the game. As you can see, we beat Mate with absolute ease. Next, we make our way to Petalburg, where we're introduced to both our absentee father and Wally, and we get to watch a Zigzagoon with Kek-Leon pronouns battle a Ralts with Pichu pronouns in the most 2023 battle ever. But anyway, a quick note on Whismur. For those of you that don't know, that move I was talking about earlier was Uproar, a 50 base power move that locks you into using it similarly to how Rollout does. But we do get Stab on it, and it also comes with the added bonus of being able to prevent sleep. I don't know how useful that's going to be going forward, but it's definitely a nice little thing to have in the arsenal. Anyhow, nothing really interesting happens in Petalburg Woods, but in Rustborough, I thought I'd try Roxanne. Yeah, I didn't stand a chance, let's be real here. Although Astonish is a neutral ghost type move, it is stupidly low base power, physical in this generation, and that's really not a great start against the high defense rock types. We would have to rely on Flinchacks and the fact that we do outspeed the Geodude until we get hit by one Rock Tomb, and then it's just a losing battle. So I decide to go away and do some grinding. At this point, I had the genius idea to go and grind in the Rust Turf Tunnel, write something in there about, Kinslayer type joke, mowing down hordes of my fellow Whismur, and then this happened. Yeah, I found a full odds shiny Whismur in the tunnel. So I guess we're using a different Whismur from now on. I named it Phoenix 2 Electric Boogaloo before being reminded by Saint in the Discord server that I really could have and probably should have made a Phoenix rising from the ashes type joke instead. Look, don't blame me, okay? I'm still buzzing from that shiny, even looking at it now. The only downside is that it doesn't have a particularly great nature, but at the end of the day, I'm sure that's not going to matter too much. Is it just me that really loves the colours of this sprite, and I really wish it carried through the evolution line? For reference, Loudred and Exploud, they both go this really weird hue, which is just a bit of a letdown in my opinion. Anyhow, with our second Whismur now in our party, that sounds really weird to say, we go back to challenge Roxanne at level 20, and I still needed to get a little bit lucky, But in the start of what will turn out to be a trend for this run, I knew it was possible. It was just a case of getting the order of the moves right and hoping for just that little bit of luck. At the end of the day, the first gym is the first gym. It's not supposed to be a massive roadblock. We do manage to beat Roxanne and claim the first of many gym badges. More story stuff from there. We leave the gym, head back up to the tunnel, defeat the grunt, go back, get dragged up to an office, and then we get free reign to have a chat with May. We bag her number because we maxed out our charisma stats at the start, and then we get the opportunity to battle her. It's really weird how somehow she's got a talk hole at this point in the game, but glossing over that, it was really quite simple. We beat her and we get to move on to Duford. The first thing I do there is dive into the cave, pick up the Everstone, which will be our held item for the majority of the fights, and then we deliver the letter to Stephen. And actually, with that plot point done, I think this is a really good time to talk about today's sponsor. Hi guys, my name's the Breph, and today's video is sponsored by Pretty Children Limited. Did you know that in the world of Pokemon, Pretty Children have the monopoly on all things merchandise? Yes, that's right, you can pick up all your assorted Pretty Children goods, everything your mind can dream of, from their shop in Duford. Some of their best sellers include Pretty Children dolls, Pretty Children clothing, and even Pretty Children picture books. For the low price of just $69.69, you can get yourself down to Duford's store and bag yourself the Pretty Children Deluxe package. Inside you'll find one doll, one t-shirt, and 3 whole picture books. If you get to the checkout and you write down the code NONCE12, the cashier will even throw in 1 whole white van completely free. So stop what you're doing, get yourself on a boat and get over to Duford to bag your Pretty Children merch. And don't forget, use code NONCE12 at checkout to get that free white van. This message is completely endorsed by Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh, I feel dirty for saying that. Oh, what have I done? What have I done? This is totally going to get clipped. I'm going to be in a lot of trouble one day. But never mind. We move. Despite being at a type and stat disadvantage to Brawly, I decided I needed nothing more than to get off of Duford Island, for obvious reasons, so I challenge him for the badge. Thankfully, Machop likes to use bulk up, giving me enough time to howl a few times, which ultimately helps us in stealing the second badge and getting off of that island as soon as I physically can. Next in the story is Slateport, where we head into the museum to fight a couple of aqua grunts before Archie comes barreling in and accusing them both of being simps. Do you like this simp emote? Do you like more of these emotes? Then why not consider joining the channel as a member? There's a big button down below that you can press, or you can visit the link in the description. Perks include access to said emotes, you also get a private Discord channel for members only, and even if you bag the right tier, can have your name featured and shouted out at the end of the video. Right, what's next? Oh yeah, the May fight. Usually this is a massive roadblock in casual runs, or actually in any run, especially in the casual. But when using Whismur, I find the complete opposite. Not so much. Stomp is a really powerful move, and really all we have to do is spam it. There's nothing else to say. We stomp our way to victory and can head on into Mauville. Now this gym terrifies me on any run, and Watson has a terrible team for the Pokemon that we're using. So I did what any logical person would do. I trained using every single other Pokemon trainer around, including a really tough bout with Wally. Honestly, face to face with that Ralts, it's so scary. It was touch and go, but then it was time for gym proper. Normally, I'd try it once or twice and know pretty early on that I was under leveled, and I'd go away and level up some more. However, no, continuing the trend from Roxanne, I knew it was possible at the level I was at. I remember getting past Magneton first really early on and then getting smacked by Quick Attack from Manectric, and it just ended me. But the fact I was able to get there gave me the hope that I needed to cling onto to propel myself through the fight. Strategy wise, it was pretty tough. I knew I needed power, so getting some howls off was going to be essential. I also learned early on that Electrike often liked to use howl at the same time as I did, and it really didn't do an awful lot given that it was spamming special moves. So I used that opportunity to bulk myself up power wise. Then it was just playing around with Stomp or Uproar. Sometimes I went for Uproar so that I could avoid the static, but I realised that it wasn't doing enough when it came to the Magneton that came out, so I opted for Stomp. Turned out to be the right call, as before too long we managed to beat him and we claimed the 3rd badge. This swing of the game is just all story, not an awful lot goes on. We whack ourselves up to Follower, we watch the cutscene and double back on ourselves to run across to the Maxi fight. And I swear, I absolutely, hand on heart, beat this first time, no failures, because I'm #Breph a player, but I promise. Anyway, after that, and much like my slack off only video, shameless plug, return will be our main move. Now, we really hit hard. Silk Scarf is a massive option that I've got in case we need more firepower. Inconceivable that we need more firepower. But there is a way to boost our power up just a fraction more. And the first person to taste our returning might is Flannery. And, well, she was really quite easy. We beat her first time and all we really did was just spam return, which I think is going to be the main strategy for a large portion of this video. And from there we really don't have many options for what to do, so I end up taking a normal type to the normal gym to face Norman. For anyone wondering, I've got Shockwave on there as just an extra counter. With our joint 51 base in attack and special attack, it's not going to be too useful, but it's very situational, and also there's a lot of water types in this game, I don't know if you know. Unfortunately this gym doesn't have any of those. I thought I was being really smart in this fight, taking advantage of Slackin's truant ability to get howls up, etc. I even thought I was being really smart on one attempt when I got hit by a yawn and went for Uproar, knowing it prevented sleep, but plot twist, yeah, you still fall asleep if you get hit by a yawn before using Uproar. Lost that attempt very quickly afterwards. Ultimately though, the winning fight wasn't too difficult. Yes, it did take resets, but it didn't feel as tough as I imagined it was going to. Up next is the Weather Institute. Look, this section of the game is boring content-wise. It isn't hard, there's no outstanding trainers, even the mini-boss in the admin is just a really easy fight. And I think the thing I hate the most is being forcibly given a cast form. So I take my inspiration from another sassy Brit in a video game and promptly tell it,
"Hello Desmond, go away."
Leaving that cursed place, May. The fight before the 6th gym is rarely difficult at this point. One of the things I really like the most about several ROM hacks is that they actually turn her into a challenge. Never mind, this one's not. And before long, we're off to collect the Devon Scope from Stephen and heading into the 6th gym to fight Winona. The flying gym was tough. The balance between knowing when to set up howls and when to attack is really a fine line. I learned pretty early on that Pelipper likes to spam Protect, giving me at least one free turn to set up. Sometimes, even Swablu likes to get in on the action and try Perish Song, but thanks to our soundproof ability, that is prevented from working. Fortunately, at the end of the day, it took maybe half a dozen resets, but in time-wise, it didn't take anywhere near as long as I thought it was going to. Next, story. We head up to Mount Pyre, Archie tries to teach all of us fellas a lesson, and then we're off to the Magma hideout where we get to fight Maxi again. Maxi just can't live with his blue ball anymore and busts it all over Groudon, who gets up and leaves, as well it should. Maxi then attacks us, and let's be real here, the only issue is Mightyena. Swagger is a nasty move to come across. One go of hitting ourselves in confusion and the fight is pretty much done. The conclusion being we guarantee that we can't win. But all in all, another fight that wasn't too bad. I think that's going to be my review of Whismur. 7.5 out of 10, wasn't too bad, for now anyway. Next up is Slateport again, and we get to gatecrash the interview while Archie decides it's a sensible idea to steal a submarine that is already fully submerged. I don't think it takes a genius to figure out why that's a bad idea. Anyway, having lost his submarine, we get to stand in front of Captain Stern and tell him the famous words, "I'm the captain now," before doing what any sensible person does at this point and progressing themselves off to Mossdeep. Oh my god, I hate this gym so much. It has massive, massive roadblock potential. Being a double battle is hard, but our original Phoenix rises once again from the PC, but goes down quicker than your wife once I give her a couple margaritas. It's a tough fight. It's scary when they start busting out Calm Mind, but do you know what? Level 69.
Nice.
We barely survived, but we did just, and managed to claim the 7th badge. Honestly, I thought it was going to be so much worse. And this is the stage of the game, guys, where I do my usual preemptive stuff. I dive immediately down to Satopolis, I then head to Pacific Log, so I've got my fly destinations, it just makes recording a little bit quicker. And on the way down to Pacific Log, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, meet Mirage Island, the one in approximately 65,000-ish odds random chance island that I bet many of you have never seen before. Well, take a good look. It's really actually quite boring. All you can find here is one unique berry and a metric crap ton of wild Wynort. Although still not as lucky as the time I found a shiny Wynort on Mirage Island, this is still an amazing find. I mean, most people will never find this island. And I know I do a disproportionately high number of playthroughs, and I know I had 3 Pokemon in the party, so that brings it down to about 1 in 30,000 odds. But even so, this is just something that you can't manipulate this, it just turns up. And somehow, well, yeah, take a look. I waste our Master Ball on a stupid little blue creature, as is customary, and I make my way to the next story element. Still, my head is spinning, but we descend into Seafloor Cavern to come across Kyogre and to battle Archie. Look, I'll keep it short, sweet and simple, not an hard fight, first time, same issues as Maxi in terms of, swagger confusion, but not something that affected us. We beat it first time, as I said, and we get out of there. Warned by Steven not to do something daft, we do something incredibly daft. We fly right into the thick of the action and head up to the Sky Pillar with Wallace to wake up Rayquaza and then head back to save the world. Once we're done doing that, we go and challenge Hoenn, the final gym leader. His team is not too difficult. Return with the Silk Scarf is next level god tier. Easy first time victory, and just like that, we are on to the final stretch of this game. And Wally continues the ease with the fight in Victory Road, not a single trouble. Most of his team is relatively weak in its own right, at least compared to our over-leveled Whismur abusing very powerful strats. And when we get to the doors of the Elite Four and kick off against Sydney, the ease still continues. It's the same strategy, we just spam return and then we win. It's really quite easy. GG son, moving on, we get to fight Phoebe, and she is the main reason that I went for Shadow Ball on our moveset. We do have to reset once because I got hit by Curse and I'm a pleb, but other than that, it's really not that difficult. So I suppose the question you're all wondering is, well, when does the bubble burst? When does it stop being easy? And ladies and gentlemen, the answer to that question is right now against Glacier. Oh my word, I could not win for toffee. I tried everything I could think of. Celio with Hail is brutal, but we do sometimes outspeed it. What we don't outspeed under any circumstances is a Glalie with Ice Beam. At this point, we got two Opes, Bob Ope and No Ope. So I had to get my brain thinking, which, believe it or not, I'm relatively quite good at. So, running through my mind of my options, I knew what I had in my bag, I knew what I had at my disposal. So, my strategy was quite simple. Let myself faint and run back through until I beat it. I ended up gaining levels upon levels upon levels. But I was still too fragile. I just couldn't beat this Glalie. And if I could beat one, I couldn't beat the other. And even by some miracle, when I did manage to beat them both, I couldn't beat the Walrein. So I needed some other form of luck. I needed another way to manipulate the odds in my favour. And that is when I realised that on the way up to collect the TM for Shadow Ball in Mount Pyre, I also collected a little item called Lax Incense. Lax Incense, as a held item, doesn't do an awful lot. All it does is give a 5% reduction in move accuracy. It isn't a lot, but it does mean that those 100 base accuracy moves now only hit with 95% accuracy. So that means Ice Beam has a chance to miss. Now, by no means is it a big chance to miss. It's in fact the exact opposite. But it is a chance, and that gives me that hope that I needed. And believe it or not, I managed to get one super lucky run, and I managed to beat Glacier. I really want to gloss over the details. It was honestly pure torture. And if you thought Drake was going to be any better, dream on, son. In fact, of my about 4 hours of total footage, just under 50 minutes is the final 3 fights. That is how brutal it is. Almost 1/4 of my recording time was spent getting footage of 3 fights: Glacier, Drake, and the champion Wallace. This was absolutely brutal. Shelgon likes to come out first and use Protect, which does help us set up some howls, apart from on the occasions where it goes for Rock Tomb and I basically have to reset. Flygon hits brutally hard with Earthquake, and even though we can get through it with Return, Salamence comes out and that is just a whole different ballgame. I needed the Lax Incense luck and the right number of howls. So while I managed to beat him, and I'm glossing over it to spare myself the mental anguish, I can 100% recommend that this is not something you should try unless you have severe masochistic tendencies. But believe it or not, the one fight I can't gloss over also happens to be the worst of the bunch by a country mile. Champion Wallace leads with a Wailord, and that thing is a tank. A full health water spout shreds us. In fact, it pretty much a one-shot. And even when I can get past it, Tentacruel comes out and goes for Toxic more often than I'd like. There is a silver lining though. Essentially, Tentacruel, Ludicolo, Whiscash and Gyarados, they're really quite easy. They're actually one-shots. They're a really pleasant middle stint. So why did I say this was the worst of the bunch? Well, that's because of my low tick. Thanks to extensive testing, I can only sum this fight up as, yeah, I get shredded. There's really no other way to say it. Pretty much everything this has got to damage me absolutely destroys me. Surf and Ice Beam, nasty combination, especially against a little Whismur. This fight breaks down in a really weird and actually quite a unique way, in that you beat the first one, you got half a chance. All of the stuff that comes after it is absolutely easy until you get the last one. You end up with a weirdly easy sandwich where both ends are horrific, but the bit in the middle is really quite sweet. Once I did beat the first one and managed to get through, I got really lucky. Sure, using Lax Incense is a really scummy strategy and it does feel nasty, but I honestly am telling you, I don't think I could have done this without it. I got really lucky and I was able to knock out the Milotic. And Whismur, Phoenix, it's in the Hall of Fame, boys. And I'm sorry to burst the bubble, but if you're thinking about the Steven fight, not possible. Even max level, I couldn't get past his second Pokemon. And honestly, Armaldo repping the channel here, because my boy was a nasty one. He hits like an absolute truck. Honestly though, I don't even want to try additional strategies and items. This fight, honestly, the last few fights have just taken it all out of me. This wasn't a simple run, all things considered, and my god, has so much happened. I think it's probably best for all of us if I just call it a day. So guys, thank you all so much for watching. Your time is immensely appreciated, more than you know. Yeah, I'm trying to get back into regular-ish uploads, first of the month. I'm even recording this audio at 9 o'clock in the morning. I started at 6:30. You know, I'm really trying. I've had a short period of illness the last few days. I don't know if my voice is still a bit hoarse. But yeah, I had the flu. But anyway, I won't keep you any longer than I have to. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're staying well. And I look forward to seeing all of you. And hopefully some more in the next one.